Hello. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas, and I hope you have a good New Year's. I'm celebrating my New Year's with friends. Uh, Gonna get drunk and just have fun. I'm already a little bit tipsy, but in the next hour, I have to leave the house, so I'm trying to rush this video as fast as possible before it hits 12 o'clock. Anywho, I wanted to talk about one last thing before the new year starts, so I can fully move on and better myself, and that is moving on part two. You know, I I'm talking to people, people that I like and I have interest in, and it makes me feel really good. Um, like a new relationship could flourish. And this person's really cool. I like them. We have the same interests, and we're having good conversations so far. So it's nice. It's a change of pace, and they're vastly different from my ex, which is kind of cool in a way. But I wanted to talk about just trying to move on. Originally I thought it was going to be difficult, with the constant reminders of my ex. Movies, shows, music, even food. They would all remind me of my ex. The biggest thing that reminded me of my ex was an experience I had recently. I walked out of my job and I saw somebody that looked exactly like my ex. She had short red hair. She was wearing this nice red dress. She was accompanied by somebody that looked like me. Curly hair. He wore clothes that looked like me. It looked like I was looking at us. But that person generally looked like my ex, and I was just shocked. And I literally just stood there and kind of stared at them. It was very awkward, but I genuinely thought I saw them. And all of the memories that I had with the store that they were sitting right in front of came flooding back, because we had walked into that store to look at rings, so that I could propose. We looked at engagement rings and also just rings that they wanted. And in that moment, I also started to remember, all the sweet, nice things that we did together. And frankly, I kind of broke down. I got sad. I started crying outside of my job, which was really embarrassing. But, not only that, but video games, like Dead by Daylight, for instance, reminds me of my ex a lot. So I haven't been able to play my favorite video game. I haven't been able to listen to some of my favorite artists because my ex listened to them as well. You know, it all sucks. But the process of moving on is starting to become easier, as much as they're not a part of my life. Although they're not a part of my life, and there's a lot of things that remind me of them, their presence no longer being here is tough. But understanding that and realizing that there's nothing I can do about it and just having to live with it is slowly becoming easier, if that makes sense. Slowly accepting the fact that that person most likely will never come back into my life is something that I'm slowly starting to understand and be better about and feel better about. Although I don't want that, there's nothing I can do. They made their decision when they broke up with me, and I accept that. And now I'm making my decision to fully move on. In the last video, talking about moving on from my ex, I said that the best thing you can do is, to move on and let them be happy, whether that's with you or not. And I was really proud of myself for saying that, but I also knew that I was spewing out bullshit. Like, genuinely, it's easier to say it than to do it, right? It's easier to just, act as if that person was not a part of your life. But it really is not that easy. Because you constantly think about them, And that's the truth. I constantly think about them as well, even when I don't want to. The only time that I don't is when I'm hanging out with friends and I have a distraction, or if I'm at work, or if I'm with family. I constantly try to distract myself in hopes that I don't think about them. And sometimes that's not enough, and sometimes, I start to think about them, but it's it's difficult, but it can be done. You can start to move on from them. It'll just take time, a lot of time. But yeah, I mean, I'm talking to someone new, and they're really cool. I like them a lot. And she has a lot of interests that I do, and like I said, she's vastly different from my ex, which I think is a plus. My ex didn't like a lot of the things that I did. This person does, I mean, truth be told, when I started to try to date again, and I started talking to people, I was looking for my ex in them, and I felt guilty doing that, because not everybody's going to be like your ex, right? Your ex is a very unique person. Everybody's unique. No one's going to be like 100 to that person. Everybody is different, and it sucks doing that, not only to the person I'm talking to, but to myself, because I want to move on, and I feel like I'm not moving on by keeping them in my life, by purposefully looking for someone that's like them. That's just not fair. But at the same time, I guess it's understandable. You want that comfort of what you once had, right? But I'm trying not to have that mindset. I'm trying not to have that. But going into 2026, I want to completely forget about them. I did something recently that I'd been struggling to do, and that's block them myself. I mean, I haven't fully blocked them. I still have their phone number unblocked, and I promised them that I would have it that way, and I think I still am, until I get into a relationship, I guess. But, I'm not going to say what they do for a living, but I also haven't blocked them because of what they do for a living. But yeah, moving on. I mean, like I said, it's easier said than done, but it's possible. I didn't really have like a direction with this video. I kind of wanted to put something out, given the fact that, I'm going to be busy like I have been recently. And I'm kind of running out of things to talk about. I have like maybe 4 or 5 more videos that I'm writing script for, and figuring out how I want to structure those videos. But after I post those, I don't really know where I'm gonna go with this channel and the TikTok. A lot of people are telling me that I should play video games. A lot of people are telling me that I should just read books, stuff like that. So I'll figure something out. But I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I did. I got to see family that I haven't seen in a while. And I hope you have a wonderful New Year's, and everything that you set yourself up for the new year, you do, and you accomplish all the goals you want. I have some goals, such as, buying a car again, and also, I have some personal goals I hope to achieve. So, yeah. Hopefully the next video will be in 4 to 5 days. We'll see. Anyhow, I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful New Year's. Goodbye.